Hey guys, for today's video, we're going to do a foliage retouch, which will consist of very limited work. The hairline foils, maybe 3 or 4 foils on either side, pop a few in the back, and call it good. So if you want to see how we go about our foil placement in the service, then keep watching. You can follow me on Instagram at Christy@thecottage. All right, let's get into it. Today, we're just going to do a really quick retouch. This is her before. You can tell that we've done this service a few times with her painted ends that are a little bit brighter. And to lighten her hair, I'm going to use my Schwarzkopf Blonde Me with 20 volume and Olaplex. And to start the service off, we're just going to do what we normally do, our hairline foils. And you can see that my client likes a pretty bold money piece. She usually likes it quite a bit brighter and to stand out a lot more than the rest of her hair. So we're really going to pack in these foils, do probably 4 weaves or so back to back, minimal subsection, but just do a really fine baby light. So that's what we're going to do to start the service off. Just do her retouch and go all the way around her hairline. You can see here that the only hair that I'm weaving out, this isn't a subsection, that's just the weave up parts from this little slice that I did. And that's going to help ensure that even though we're doing these foils back to back, because there's such fine weaves that we're doing and we're leaving out that natural hair, this is going to help ensure that when she pulls her hair back, she still has a really pretty blend. It's going to grow out really softly as if the sun were to just naturally highlight her hair. And she'll just have some really pretty soft highlights around her face. Just kind of like a really soft sun-kissed look. So even though we're doing these foils with minimal hair in between just the weave out, it's still gonna look really soft and subtle and not too heavy or harsh. And you can see on this side a little bit better how thin those sections are that we're taking. You can see straight through them. I feel like if you can see through the hair, then that's a true baby light. A lot of people like to just use the term and overuse it when it's not actually a baby light. Sometimes a standard weave is just too thick for right on the hairline. So that's why I prefer doing more of a softer baby light. That way it just grows out really soft and they won't have a heavy line of demarcation right on their hairline as their hair is growing out. Actually, a perfect example, her hair that's clipped back, you can see how soft the grow out is from the highlights that we do around her face. So when I pin her hair back up again, you can see just how really soft and subtle those highlights grow out. Now to go through and do her money piece, she likes it pretty strong. So I just go directly on her hairline, do a really fine weave, leave minimal of her natural weaved out, and we'll do probably 3 of these back to back. Oh, also when I was applying the bleach, I accidentally went a little too far over and got some underneath the foil, so we're just gonna wipe that off. Just always double check your work and make sure you're clearing up any mess ups that might happen along the way. All right, another thing, because she parts her hair so far over to the side, which, hey, I love a side part. I really don't think anybody should be parting their hair straight down the center. A side part is always the way to go, in my opinion. Few and far between that can pull off the center part. Anyways, so make sure that you're grabbing hair. If somebody parts their hair pretty far on the side, make sure that you're foiling over to that side a little bit more and grabbing a little bit more hair off the side of the head. That way you can ensure wherever they part their hair, their money piece extends to both sides instead of just going straight down the center, but their hair parts on the side, and then when they part their hair, all the brightness falls onto one side and not the other. So because of that, this next little section that I'm taking, I'm going to do kind of a diagonal triangle section, and I'm going to weave this, back comb it, and this is going to help not necessarily make the money piece go back so much further because I don't want it to be too bright in this section. I just want to add a little bit of a highlight, that way when her hair falls parted on the side, she still has a little bit of brightness and it extends back a little bit more. But because it's back combed and weaved, it's going to be still a little bit softer. All right, now we're moving to the crown of her hair, and we're going to do a zigzag sectioning, weave it, back comb it, and that for me helps ensure that I'm getting the best blend, that everything kind of softens and there's not any harsh lines in the hair. We're going to just not go all the way up to her roots, but just kind of swipe up into her within like an inch of her roots. So that's going to leave a little bit of a shadow. A lot of people message me and say that they have a hard time getting a blend. I feel like if you're going straight across the head instead of doing a slight angle, if you're zigzagging, that's going to pick up an irregular section of hair. Back combing it, weaving it, all of that stuff really helps ensure that you're going to be blending the hair out and there's not going to be any heavy lines in the hair. So hopefully that helps. A lot of people say that they have a hard time blurring the lines, and that for me has really helped the best. So hopefully that helps you guys if you haven't tried it. So this lax section that we're taking is directly underneath where she parts her hair. So all that hair that I just flipped over is going to fall on top. She never really wants to have her hair super bright. She still wants it to blend and have the majority of her natural, just so that she can go a while with the hair growing out. So all the stuff that I'm pulling there is going to fall on top. And I'm just trying to check her part to see that I'm grabbing the hair exactly where it needs to be. So now that we're over on the other side, we're again still doing a slight diagonal off of the side of her head. And I do have to throw a little bit more foils on this side just because on the other side we only had to do 3. I'm having to do a little bit more on this side just because of how far over she parts her hair. So instead of just doing 3 up towards the top of her part, I want to make sure that if she throws her hair back, she still has one in the same spot on this side of the head as she does as the other side. I'm just going to be doing a little bit thicker of subsections in between and taking probably some thinner amounts of hair, because the fact that I am doing a little bit more foil work on this side, I don't want it to be too much or come across like it's too much brighter than the other side. So we're leaving more subsections, doing a finer weave, and then as I get closer to the top of the hair, because I don't want it to be too bright, you'll notice the very last foil that I do is a very, very fine weave. So we're just going to continue working up this side of this head. I'm trying to go through and place the hair exactly where she's going to part it and exactly where it's going to fall. And I'm just going to grab the section, like the veil that's going to lay directly on top. And I'm going to do my fine weave directly underneath that because I want to make sure that it matches up with the other side. So I'm going to pull this section apart and I'm just going to do a very, very fine weave right here. And then that's going to be it for the sides of the head. And then we're just going to go back and do the same thing in the back section, see exactly how the hair is going to fall, and then throw just like 3 foils in the back. But you can see what I was mentioning earlier, how much finer of a section this is, because I don't want it to fall too bright or too heavy. So we're just going to do a little bit of a thinner weave and now move to the back. And that's it, just 3 in the back. And then again, I'm just double checking, how is her hair going to fall? Is there going to be too much darkened dimension falling on top of those foils? Do I need to throw another one in? But I don't, because that's exactly how our hair is going to lay. And that's all we're going to do for our foil placement. And I know I talk about it a lot. I'm not big at all. I never put my foils underneath the hair dryer. Like, you know, sit them under the chair with a dryer on top of their head for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes or whatever. But I've let her process for about 25 minutes now, and I'm just going to come back and check her hair. And just, these were a little bit warm still, so I just blow dried them for a few minutes, let them sit for 5 extra minutes, and now you can see that they lightened up really nicely. So that's all I ever do with heat. I'll just blast it really quickly on the last few foils that we did. Anything that needs to lighten up a little bit more, let them sit for 5 more minutes, and then they usually come out fine. So now we're going to pull the foils out, and then you can see how nice and bright she got, and then we're going to go into toning. Really simple toner formulation today. Half and half, 10A, half 10NB. And I'm going to mix with the processing solution. And because of the NB, I was able to just put it all over her hair. Sometimes I'll leave the hairline pieces out just because sometimes those are more processed or over processed and can grab really ashy, but having that 10 NB really helps soften it a little bit so that it grabs nice and cool but not overly ashy. So we're just going to go through and blow dry her hair. You can see how soft that blends. It's really soft and pretty. Of course, her nice bright hair money piece, but the rest of her hair is really soft and subtle, and you can see that everything blends really nicely and there's no heavy lines in the hair. And I like to show you guys how the hair looks when it's more just dried and straightened instead of styled, so you can see how it looks just, you know, blow dried. Some people like to say that we curl the hair because it looks better when it's balayage, or because we are trying to cover any mess ups in the hair, which isn't true. Balayage just sometimes looks a little bit prettier with all the different tones curled, and so that's why I always love to curl my clients, because I think it looks so pretty. So we're just going to finish up with this little section of the video, styling her hair. I know sometimes you guys like to watch the styling, so I'm just going to throw in a little bit of that into this ending part of the service. Oh, I know someone's going to ask. I'm using a Paul Mitchell flat iron, which I love. I've had it for years. It's my favorite. I like that you can adjust the temperature on it. If you get a flat iron that just switches on, sometimes they have the temperature at 400 or 450, which is way too hot for your hair. The safe temperature to use for your hair is around 350 at the very highest. I say the safe range is at 330, especially if you have really blonde, cool, icy hair. If it's any hotter than 350 or even at 350, it might yellow the hair. So if you feel like your hair is going brassy, that could be why. Ta-da! Yay! She's so cute. You can see that she's really happy with the hair, and we're gonna go back and just see her before again. And you can see that she had a good amount of roots, but you can also tell through the ends that we've done the service quite a few times, but you can see that the grow out is always really soft and subtle. And here is the after. And I will say that the service you might not be able to do and get the same effect on somebody that has never highlighted their hair before. I would say that if somebody has virgin hair or never highlighted their hair, done balayage, that you can still do the same thing, the same placement, but you might have to go through and paint through the ends just to brighten them up a little bit more to get more of an ombre or more highlights through the end instead of just, you know, soft and subtle at the roots. But this is a good option to be able to have for somebody that you're trying to retouch or they're new to color and they just want something really soft. This is a great option to do. So thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope you liked it. If you have any questions, ask in the comments and I'll try to get back to you. There's the front. You can see how much brighter and more bold the money piece is, and how really soft and subtle the highlights blend into her roots. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.